All right, here we go for week 2 for functions, guys. So here's what we got on the agenda this week. Monday, we're gonna go into our upper body work. So same thing we did last Wednesday. We're just flipping and swapping each week with the Mondays and the Wednesdays, just to keep it a little bit more fresh and have different muscle groups being challenged at a different time during the week. So Monday, we're going to work on that lat activation work, our scapula circles or our shoulder blade circles, and then go into our bench press. So if you guys remember with that lat activation, we're trying to really prime the lats up. And first, actually just making sure we have awareness of where the lats are and how they activate and feeling that contraction, the actual sensation of the contraction in the muscle. That controls how our shoulder blade moves, as you guys have already seen, how the shoulder moves into extension and how it pulls us in. And like I've said last week, it's something we want to get a little bit more aware of and try to see if we can use some of these movements to activate the lat in other movements. So like when we go into ring rows, how can you maximize more out of that ring row? You know that when I pull my shoulder blades down, I activate my lat. So that's one thing you can emphasize, for example. So hopefully this gives you kind of inspiration or some ideas on how to move better and how to activate certain areas when you're doing something not so isolated like a ring row or a push-up or a deadlift. So for the strength, like I said, lat activation, I bumped up the time, so 15 to 30 seconds. So we're going to try to get more volume done per set. And we're doing that per side for part A. Part B, we're going to go into scapula circles. So we're going to have our arm out in front and try to move the shoulder blade in a circular motion. Those of you that are feeling these are easy to do circles, go into figure eights. Make it more challenging, make the movement more complex so your brain starts to pay attention to the movement, which then helps you enhance and improve it. So all of these two, or the A and B, are to help you guys prime up for your bench press. We're going to do 3 sets of 5 at a top progression. I want to see a 2-second descent on each one. You can look back at last week and see how you did, or if it's brand new to you, just take your time through it and really get comfortable with the bench press skill before you even worry about adding weight to it. So we'll do this throughout the cycle so you'll see it every time. But again, we want to see some skill and technique with it first before we're driving the weight. Then to finish off that day, we got a interval workout, 3 minutes on of dual dumbbell ground to overhead. So we take dumbbells, 2 of them from the ground to an overhead position. So we're going to get ourselves into a good posture at the bottom, like a deadlift position, really driving our hips up. We can clean and then press them overhead, which I would say maybe prefer with that. Or if you feel real comfortable, you could go straight overhead with a snatch variation. So they are dual, a little bit more challenging. So I would probably say like a clean and jerk variation would be better. However, if you do feel comfortable with a snatch, you guys can do that. And if you need to go single dumbbell, that's okay too as well. It is 3 minutes on, so pace yourself. We're not expecting you to move for 3 minutes on fully with a dumbbell ground overhead. So take your time with it, maybe sets of 5, and you want to just try to keep a good pace for the 3 minutes. Right after that, we're going to go on the bike and go for 3 minutes on the assault bike. We're counting our calories. Then we're going to a round of 2 minutes on, 2 minutes of the ground overhead and assault bike calories, and then the last round, 1 minute of each. So we're testing our skill and our endurance here. What I want to see is that the first 3 minutes are taking at a moderate pace. Second minute is more at a moderate fast pace, and then the last minute is a fast pace, especially on the assault bike. I would push it on there just because it's a little bit more low risk and you can kind of get more of that cardio endurance stimulus out of it. So from there, going into our Wednesday workout, we got a similar structure. We're going to hit the lower body. So hamstring activation. So we're going to more time under tension there. Hip circles this time from the front position. So that means when our hip is in the flex position, we want to try to keep our pelvis from tucking underneath us when we do this. So really be wary of that. And again, like progress that to figure eights if we need to make it more challenging. And then that's to help, again, fire the hamstrings up, fire kind of that front hip flexor up so we can go into weighted lunges and see how those feel. 3 sets of 5. Again, those can be with weight if you have it, or you can just go body weight, but let's make it challenging for 5 reps per side. Then our workout, we got different style intervals. So we got 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off. So we're going to go 200-meter row, 10 burpees, and then max wall balls at the end. So it's good. We got our legs primed up for those wall balls and the rowing too. So you should kind of feel ready to go with that. The idea is to leave some time at the end to be able to do wall balls. About a minute would be like ideal. And you're probably going to be getting somewhere around to 10 to 20 reps at the end of each one. You got a 2-minute rest. It's not a complete 1-to-1 ratio. So when we're doing these kinds of styles of workouts where we're not resting 3 minutes to 3 minutes and it's less on the rest, we don't want to push super hard on that 3 minutes because we want to be able to maintain. There's more of an endurance piece to this than there is just trying to go all out and empty your tank. So treat this like I want you guys to maintain a pace or maintain the same reps per round. I'd probably score the wall balls for this workout as your score. And the buy-in is your rowing and your burpees. So you're trying to get through those as quick as possible so you can get to the wall balls. But a good, again, like I listed, moderate high intensity interval training is what we're trying to do for this workout. Okay, Thursday, we got our vision and balance day. So I was excited for these ones because we get to kind of see how we can get better, get more stable, or even just work on our balance. And it's not so much about like being able to balance the best on one leg. It's about trying to get those areas that are working in the background to fire up because that's how our stability is dictated. So by doing these drills, we're firing up all those muscles, especially in our midline. So the muscles on our spine, around our head or neck, around our hips to really stabilize us. So we're going to, as last week we did, we're going to establish a balanced baseline, find something that feels tough, especially to hold for about 10 seconds that we can do consistently with. Take that position and we're going to challenge it with different head positions and see how that affects our balance, and also in the meantime train it and do the same thing with eye positioning and see how that affects our balance. And then from there we'll cool down again with a cool little drill, basically kind of massaging the eyes and kind of trying to loosen some of the tension around the eyes there from possibly some of the strain that you get from the balance work and the eye work. Again, everyone's a little different, but again, I would use it as a little bit of a cool down to kind of finish that off. Then our workout, this one's a cool one, 4 time, 10 minutes. It's just 1 round through our chipper, 200-foot sled push, ideally at body weight. So it's going to be a tough weight. We're probably going to be pushing around 25 feet at a time at most. We're going to grab our med ball. We're going to go into med ball twists and throws against the wall, and then 40 push-ups. So the goal is with this one, let's get into the push-ups. We don't necessarily have to be finishing this workout to get the stimulus, but we are challenging our strength under that fatigue. So we're building up that fatigue over time. And by the time you get to the push-ups, the core and your legs are pretty shot. And then it's about like, how can we challenge that upper body with those push-ups? So aim to get into that set of push-ups and try to make that halfway point. So the 20 rep mark would be awesome for today's workout. So, and again, skill in what you need to allow yourself to do that. You can think of each movement to take about 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So that way you can pace it to get all 3 movements done by then. Okay. And our final day of the week, Saturday. This one's a good one to work on our endurance today. So as you guys have seen, we've been working on our breathing in the beginning. We're going to do some skill work. So quick diaphragm stretches. Again, this is to help you guys open up and really get the diaphragm moving to its full range of motion. So we're doing these ones off the ground, 3 to 5 reps. And giving yourself some rest in between every rep. So we don't want to do them just like touch and go or back to back. And then the next 3 movements are a series of air hunger drills. So we're basically in these drills, we're emptying all the air out of us, and then we're doing some movement, and you're going to feel that CO2 starting to build up. The cool thing about that effect is it drives vasodilation. So what that means is that our blood vessels kind of increase in size due to the chemical reactions of CO2 buildup. And then we want to take advantage of that because that's going to drive more blood flow into our brain and activate more of our midline structures. So some areas are like the cerebellum, which does a lot of our balance and accuracy and our coordination there, and our midbrain. It kind of drives a lot of our flexion movements in our body. So you can see some benefits from both kind of a higher activation or higher state of activation in our brain, and also better movement too as well. This is something you can test for yourself to see if it improves. Again, everyone's a little bit different, so it might not be the same effect on you, though I do know some air hunger drills really help people improve their breathing mechanics, and really kind of changes the chemistry of the oxygen versus the CO2 in their body. A lot of people think they need oxygen more in their body, but it's actually a little bit more of the CO2 that they need to improve their fitness and actually just move better and get better activation. So lots of cool benefits from that. So stretches, air hunger, walking, squats, and ring rows. Just 2 sets going through it. Take your time through it. The air hunger, sometimes you get a little bit lightheaded, and that's normal. Just make sure you're taking your breaks and not pushing too far with it. That should take us into the workout and pretty much prime us and ready us to go into a steady pace of an EMOM 30 at a 60% pace, because we want to be breathing through our nose through this. We're going to get the ski erg out, and we're going to go 1 minute on the ski erg. Second minute, we're going to go farmer's carry. Third minute, row. Fourth, front rack carry. Fifth minute, bike erg. Sixth, overhead carry, and then back again from the cycle. So we're doing 5 rounds total of that. It's supposed to be a aerobic stimulus, so we're not trying to be at that higher end where we're feeling muscles burn. It's more about the breathing in this one and just keeping a steady rhythm. When you do this EMOM 30, almost imagine you're going to do this for double the amount of time. You're doing it for 60 minutes. So see what that pace would be like for yourself and try to manage that for that 30 minutes. But a good one to get yourself moving, working on your breathing mechanics. And as you breathe better, again, like brain is activating more, you can progress more, posture improves, a ton of different benefits from this. So all of today is about endurance and our breathing abilities. So hope you guys have fun with this one and then end off the week well. We'll see you guys next week for the next set of workouts.